My golden brother drained the family company, and my parents still demanded I gift him half of mine after years of laughing at my pathetic business. I just smiled and said, I don't hire thieves. Hey, Reddit. So here's what nobody tells you about growing up as the disappointment in a wealthy family. You get real comfortable with being invisible, not poor invisible, rich invisible. You show up to holidays, smile when you're supposed to, and accept that your parents will never look at you the way they look at your golden child sibling. I, 29 male, spent the last 6 years building custom furniture in a workshop in Red Bank, New Jersey. High-end stuff. Tables that cost what some people pay for cars. Chairs that took 3 months to build. Work where every joint mattered and every finish had to be perfect. The kind of craftsmanship that required patience, precision, and actual skill. Last month, I delivered a conference table to a hedge fund in Greenwich. Guy paid $28,000 without blinking. His wife cried when she saw it. Actual tears. Meanwhile, my family still thought I was playing arts and crafts. My parents hated it. Every Thanksgiving for 5 years, Dad asked when I'd get serious. Every birthday, Mom sent job listings for property management firms. They ran a commercial real estate firm in Bergen County that had been in the family for 30 years. My older brother Blaine worked there as VP of acquisitions. My younger sister Delaney handled investor relations. Blaine was the golden child, literally. Mom had a framed photo of him shaking hands with the governor in the living room. My photo was in the hallway bathroom. I was the guy who worked with his hands like some kind of peasant. 5 days before Christmas, I drove up to the family estate in Saddle River. Big colonial, circular driveway. I wanted to come early this year, help set up, maybe finally prove I belonged at the table instead of being tolerated at it. Stupid, right? Still believing family mattered after everything. Our housekeeper of 18 years opened the door. She was the only person in that house who ever seemed happy to see me. Mr. Callahan, good to see you. Hey, they upstairs? She hesitated, glanced behind her, then quietly, yeah. Inside, Mom and Delaney had spreadsheets covering the coffee table like they were coordinating a hostile takeover. Hey, I'm here. Mom barely glanced up. Leave your coat in the hall. Don't touch the decorations. The staging company is coming back tomorrow. Delaney looked up briefly. Oh, good. You showed up early. Remember when he used to help set up, move the furniture wrong every single time, scratched Mom's antique credenza? Dismissive. Condescending. Like I was a child who couldn't be trusted with basic tasks. I headed upstairs to use the bathroom, and that's when things got weird. My old room, the one I'd stayed in since I was 7, had someone else's luggage by the door. Turned out it was for one of Mom's investor friends staying over. I walked in, and every personal item I'd left there was gone. Photos, books, tools, all of it shoved into plastic storage bins, stacked in the corner like garbage waiting for pickup. Mom? I called out. No answer. I walked toward Dad's office to ask about my room. The door was half open. Then I heard my name and froze. Slides after dessert. Dad's voice, calm and businesslike. Keep it short. No arguing. I pressed against the wall, barely breathing. Blaine's voice. Put the salary chart on the screen right after Dad finishes the intro. He can't say no in front of everyone. Fragments. That's all I got. But fragments were enough. Mom. Once he's in, we fold his shop into ours. Control the client list. I stepped back, heart pounding, walked to the printer room at the end of the hall, and there it was. A stack of handouts in the tray. Still warm. Callahan. Career trajectory. I picked one up, flipped through it. Charts comparing furniture maker salaries to corporate positions. My name in bullet points. Intervention strategy in the header. They'd even made a slide called objection handling. They'd even assigned tasks. Mom was supposed to comfort me after I came to my senses. Delaney would handle social media optics. Like I was a PR problem to manage. 45,000. That's what they thought I made. I'd cleared 140K last year, but they'd never asked, never checked, just assumed. I took a photo, then another. Evidence. I walked straight out of that house without saying a word. Got in my truck and drove. Not crying, not panicking, planning. The security gate closed behind me in the rearview mirror. 18 years of trying to prove myself to people who'd already decided I wasn't worth their time. Done. By the time I pulled into a rest stop on the Garden State Parkway, I'd already made 3 decisions. First, I was going to that dinner. Second, I was going to let them spring their trap. Third, I was going to detonate it in their faces in front of everyone. They want a show? I'll give them a show. I called Connor, my best friend since college, who'd helped me set up my workshop. He picked up immediately. Yo, what's up? I just found my entire family's plan to humiliate me at Christmas dinner. PowerPoint presentation, printed handouts, the whole thing. Long silence. Are you joking? I have photos. Where are you? Parkway rest stop. Heading back to Red Bank. What are you gonna do? Show up. Let them think they've got me cornered. Then blow the whole thing up in front of everyone. I need ammunition, though. Real numbers. Proof that everything they think about me is wrong. Connor was quiet for a second. Come to my place. We'll build your counterattack. Connor lived in Asbury Park in a converted warehouse loft that he'd renovated himself. When I got there, he already had coffee brewing and his laptop open. Talk, he said, handing me a mug. Those complete jerks, he finally said. All right, you're going to that dinner, but you're going prepared. That's the plan. Good. What do you need? Financial statements? Tax returns? Client list? Anything that proves I'm not the failure they think I am? They want to ambush me with fake numbers? I'll bury them with real ones. Connor nodded slowly. We can put together a packet tonight. Print everything. You walk in there with receipts. Literally. We spent the next 3 hours assembling everything. Tax returns showing $140,000 income. Bank statements showing consistent deposits. Client testimonials I'd saved over the years. Photos of completed pieces in clients' homes. A portfolio that proved I wasn't playing at business. I was running one. Successfully. Without their help or their money or their approval. Connor pulled up their company's public filings. Dude, their accounts receivable is a disaster. They've been bleeding clients for 2 years. He whistled. Your brother didn't just steal from them. He torpedoed the whole operation while he was doing it. Connor even helped me rehearse. What to say when they started their presentation. How to time the reveal for maximum impact. Where to stand so everyone could see me when I pulled out my packet. This is solid, Connor said, reviewing the final packet. They show their fake numbers, you show your real ones. In front of everyone. Checkmate. Perfect, I said. After we finished, I made the call I'd been putting off. The one that could change everything. Hello? Grandma, it's Callahan. Callahan, this is a surprise. Her voice was warm but cautious. Everything all right? Not exactly. I need to tell you something, and I need you to hear me out. I told her everything. The presentation, the fake salary numbers, the plan to force me into the company. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Your father called me yesterday asking for a substantial loan, she finally said. When I pressed him on why, he got evasive. Now I understand. Her voice turned sharp. Blaine's been stealing from them, hasn't he? That's what this is really about. My stomach dropped. How did you know? I've suspected for months. The numbers never added up when Vincent discussed the business. She paused. So their solution is to ambush you and steal your business to cover their losses. Appalling. I'm going to the dinner, Grandma. I'm going to let them try their little intervention, and then I'm going to expose everything in front of the whole family. Another pause. Then, good. And I'll be there to back you up. You will? Absolutely. It's time someone held them accountable. Her voice was iron. Don't answer any calls from them before dinner. Let them think everything's normal. And Callahan, don't hold back. I won't. We hung up. I had my ammunition. I had my ally. Now I just needed to wait. Christmas Eve. I spent in my workshop, finishing a commission and trying to stay calm. My phone buzzed constantly. Mom calling. Dad calling. I ignored all of it. Let them wonder. Let them sweat. That evening, I drove back up to Saddle River, parked in the circular driveway, walked in like nothing was wrong. The house was packed. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends, everyone dressed up. The annual Callahan Christmas dinner in full swing. Mom spotted me first. Relief flooded her face. Callahan, you came. We were worried when you didn't answer your phone. Got busy with work. You know how it is. She didn't know. She'd never asked. Dinner was the usual performance. Expensive food, fake laughter. Dad holding court at the head of the table. Blaine making sure everyone knew about his latest deal. Delaney name-dropping investors. And me, sitting quietly, waiting. After dessert, Dad stood up and clinked his glass. If I could have everyone's attention. Before we move to the living room, I'd like to share something special. A presentation about our family's future. Here we go. Everyone migrated to the living room, where a projector was already set up. I took a seat near the back. My grandmother caught my eye from across the room and gave me a small nod. Dad launched into his speech. The company's legacy. The importance of family unity. The need for everyone to contribute. Then Blaine stepped forward with the clicker. As many of you know, Callahan has been pursuing alternative career paths. He smiled at me, patronizing. We've put together some information to help him see the bigger picture. The first slide appeared. Callahan, career trajectory, charts showing furniture maker salaries, national averages. My name in bullet points. The number 45,000 in bold red letters. As you can see, Blaine continued, the ceiling for this kind of work is extremely limited. Meanwhile, our family firm offers real growth potential, benefits, stability. That's an interesting number, I said, standing up. Where'd you get it? Blaine blinked. Industry averages, standard research? Really? Because according to my tax returns, I made $140,000 last year. I pulled the packet from my jacket. Want to see? The room went silent. You could hear ice settling in glasses. I've got bank statements too. Client testimonials. Photos of pieces I've built that sold for more than some people's cars. I walked toward the front, making sure everyone could see me. But please, continue. Tell everyone more about my failing hobby. Dad stepped forward. Callahan, this isn't the time. Isn't it? You set up a whole presentation, printed handouts, even made a slide called Objection Handling. I held up my phone. I have photos of everything from the printer tray. Want me to share them with the room? Mom's face went white. Delaney's jaw dropped. Here's what's actually happening, I continued, turning to face the assembled family. Every aunt, uncle, cousin, and family friend staring at me with wide eyes. The company is broke. They're hemorrhaging money. And instead of admitting it, they plan to humiliate me into joining so they could use my business to bail themselves out. Gasps from the aunts, murmurs from the cousins. One of my uncles muttered Jesus Christ under his breath. That's not true, Delaney shouted. Really? I looked at her. So the company's doing fine? No cash flow problems? No investor concerns? Dad didn't call Grandma yesterday begging for a loan? Silence. Dead, devastating silence. My grandmother stood up. Every head in the room turned to her. It's worse than that. Her voice cut through the room like a blade. I've suspected for months that something was wrong with the company finances. Vincent called me yesterday asking for a substantial loan. When I pressed him, he admitted there have been irregularities. She looked directly at Blaine. 3 years of irregularities. Blaine's face went pale. His hand holding the clicker started shaking. Your golden child has been embezzling, she continued, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. And rather than deal with it honestly, they decided to drag Callahan into their mess. Use his clean reputation. Steal his client list. Fold his legitimate business into their failing one. In front of all of you, on Christmas Eve, the room erupted. Everyone talking at once. Accusations flying. One of my aunts stood up and started gathering her things. My cousin pulled out his phone, probably texting everyone who wasn't there. My uncle, the one who'd always sided with my parents on everything, stood up. Vincent, tell me right now, is this true about Blaine? Dad couldn't even look at him. My uncle grabbed his coat. 30 years I defended you to my wife. 30 years. He walked out. His wife followed. Then 2 more cousins. Dad tried to regain control. This is family business. We shouldn't be discussing. You made it family business when you planned to humiliate your son in front of everyone, my grandmother snapped. You should be ashamed. All of you. Blaine, Delaney, and especially you, Vincent. This boy built something real while you were busy coddling a thief. I looked at my parents, my brother, my sister, the people who had spent years making me feel worthless, the people who thought I'd just roll over and accept their scraps. I built something real, I said quietly, but everyone heard it. Without your help, without your approval, without your respect, and you thought you could just take it because you needed a bailout. Mom started crying. Dad's face was red with humiliation. Blaine looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. I headed for the door. Callahan, wait! Mom reached for my arm. I pulled away. Don't. We're done here. I walked out into the cold December night, the sound of chaos still spilling from the house behind me. Got in my truck, drove. 2 hours later, I pulled into a cabin driveway in the Poconos. My phone buzzed constantly. Mom, Dad, Delaney, Blaine. I ignored all of it. Let them panic. Let them try to do damage control. The truth was out now, spreading through the family like wildfire. One text from my grandmother. Proud of you. They're still reeling. Half the guests left within 20 minutes. Your father tried to salvage the evening, but no one was having it. Call me tomorrow. One from the housekeeper. Mr. Callahan, I packed your belongings safely. They're in the garage when you're ready. Well done tonight. They needed to hear that. Christmas morning in the Poconos felt like waking up in a different life. My phone looked possessed. I scrolled through messages over coffee, each one more satisfying than the last. Dad, your mother is devastated. This stunt reflects poorly on your judgment. We need to discuss this as a family. Delaney, you've always been selfish, but this is next level. You humiliated us in front of everyone. Pathetic. Blaine, you really think you're something special now? All you did was embarrass the family? This isn't over, little brother. Not even close. That last one made me laugh. Still posturing, still thinking he had leverage. I deleted it without responding. My grandmother. Half the family called me last night. Most are disgusted with your parents. Several cousins want to commission furniture from you. Your aunt says she always knew Vincent was a fraud. Well done. I stayed in the Poconos through New Year's. Used the time to plan. I mapped out a growth strategy, sketched designs for new pieces, even drafted proposals for a gallery show in New York. For the first time in years, I could think about the future without the weight of my family's disapproval dragging me down. You're gonna need help, Connor said one afternoon while we worked at the cabin table. You can't handle the demand alone. Not after what happened at Christmas. Word's going to spread. People are going to want pieces from the guy who told off his whole family. I know. Been thinking about hiring someone. Maybe two people if the gallery thing works out. You scared? Terrified. But also ready. For the first time in my life, I feel ready. Back in Red Bank on January 2nd, my workshop felt different. Fresh eyes. 23 new inquiries waiting. A gallery in Tribeca wanted to discuss representation, and I had lunch scheduled with my grandmother on the 8th. The old Callahan would have been anxious about seeing family. The new Callahan? Actually looking forward to it. January 8th, steakhouse in Montclair, upscale, quiet. She was already seated when I arrived, sharp-eyed and direct as always. She stood to hug me. Callahan, you look well. Thanks, Grandma. We dispensed with small talk quickly. Then she set down her menu and looked at me directly. I owe you an apology, she said. For what? For not saying something sooner. I knew how they treated you. Saw it for years. Should have intervened instead of waiting. You weren't part of their plan. No, but I enabled it with my silence. She sipped her iced tea. That ends now. I've made it clear to your parents that their behavior was unacceptable. Informed the extended family that you run a legitimate, profitable business. How'd they take it? She smiled slightly. Your mother cried. Your father got defensive. I told them to be quiet and listen for once. I laughed. I'm updating my will, she continued. You'll receive 40% of my estate. Your siblings split the remaining 60%. Not compensation for their cruelty. You've simply proven yourself. Grandma, you don't need to. I'm not asking permission. I'm informing you. She looked at me with something like pride. You remind me of myself at your age. Everyone had opinions about what I should do. I ignored them and built my own accounting practice. Best decision I ever made. I didn't know that. Your family doesn't mention it. Doesn't fit their narrative. She paused. I'm also investing in your business. Not charity. Legitimate business decision. 15% equity in exchange for capital to expand. I stared at her. You're serious? Completely. I've reviewed your website. Called 3 of your buyers myself. Your numbers are excellent. Growth potential is substantial. You're a sound investment. She smiled. And I expect quarterly reports. I'm an involved investor. We talked details over lunch. Her investment would let me hire 2 people, upgrade equipment, lease a proper showroom space. One more thing, she said as we finished. Your mother will attempt contact. Apologies and manipulations. Whatever you decide, remember, you don't owe them forgiveness just because they're family. You owe yourself respect. I'll remember that. She squeezed my hand. Good man. The next 2 weeks exploded. I hired 2 guys, both skilled, both hungry, set up proper workflows, organized inventory, created systems for tracking commissions versus gallery pieces. Mid-January, my phone rang. Dad. I almost didn't answer, but I was curious. Hello? Callahan. It's your father. I know. Long pause. I'm calling because we need to discuss what happened at Christmas. What about it? You humiliated us in front of the entire family. You made accusations. I told the truth, I cut in. There's a difference. Callahan, I understand you're upset, but you need to look at this practically. We're dealing with investor concerns, cash flow issues. Dad, why did you really want me to join the family firm? Silence. I'm not stupid, I continued. You're not offering this out of concern. What's really going on with Blaine? More silence. Then, carefully. The company is going through an audit. There are some accounting irregularities we're investigating. Irregularities. That's what we're calling 3 years of embezzlement? We don't know that for certain. Grandma does. And now so does everyone else. I let that hang there. You plan to humiliate me into joining a company that's hemorrhaging money because your golden boy stole from you, and you're too proud to admit it. That is not what this is about. Yes, it is. And my answer is still no. Handle your own mess. I hung up. February brought momentum. The gallery in Tribeca scheduled an exhibition after our initial meeting went well. My 2 guys stepped up. 12-hour days. Every joint perfect. Every finish flawless. Then, reality hit. Manhattan client, 12K dining table, called to renegotiate after delivery. Finish isn't what I expected. 8,000 seems fair. I have the signed spec sheet. Take 8 or I'll dispute the charge. Hung up. Called a lawyer. Certified letter threatening a breach of contract lawsuit. Client paid in full within a week, plus written apology. Running a business meant fighting for what you'd earned. 2 weeks before the solo show, things got ugly. Blaine showed up at my workshop unannounced. Just walked right in like he owned the place. I was finishing a walnut credenza when I heard the door. Looked up, and there he was. Same smug face, same expensive suit, same golden child energy radiating off him like a disease. Nice setup, he said, looking around. Quaint. Get out. Relax. I'm here to talk business. He picked up one of my chisels, examining it like he knew what he was looking at. He didn't. The auditors finished their preliminary report. Dad's in full panic mode. Mom's on Xanax. Delaney won't stop crying. Still not my problem. He walked past my workbench, running his finger along the edge of a piece I'd been working on for 6 weeks. 800 hours of work. Careful, I said. That's worth more than your car. His jaw tightened. First real reaction I'd gotten out of him. Here's the thing, little brother. He set the chisel down, met my eyes. It doesn't have to be ugly. Family takes care of family. You bring me in as a partner, 50-50, and we call it even. I handle operations, you do your little woodworking thing. I actually laughed. You're serious. Dead serious. I've got business experience you don't have. Connections. I can take this operation to the next level. You stole millions from the family company, and you want me to hand you half my business? His face hardened. I didn't steal anything. There were cash flow issues, creative accounting. Things got complicated. The auditors have a different opinion. The auditors don't know the whole story. He stepped closer. I'm offering you a lifeline here. Take it. Get out of my workshop. Think carefully, Callahan. You make me an enemy, things get difficult. I know people, investors, clients. I can make phone calls that would bury this little hobby of yours in a week. Are you threatening me? I'm giving you options. He smiled. That same patronizing smile from Christmas. 50-50. Final offer. I don't hire thieves, and I definitely don't make them partners. His smile disappeared. You'll regret this. Get out, now. He left, but something told me this wasn't over. 3 days later, it started. A client called to cancel a commission. Said he'd heard concerning things about my business practices. Then another cancellation. Then a bad review appeared online. Someone I'd never worked with claiming I'd delivered damaged goods. The fake reviews got creative. One claimed I'd shown up to a delivery drunk. Another said I'd made a pass at some guy's wife. All from accounts created within 48 hours of Blaine's visit. All with zero history, zero other reviews, zero credibility to anyone paying attention. But they showed up on Google. That's what mattered to him. I called Connor. Blaine's going scorched earth, I said. Cancellations, fake reviews. He's trying to destroy my reputation. Document everything. Screenshots, timestamps, the works. Already on it. Then the call started. Middle of the night. Blocked numbers. Heavy breathing, then disconnect. 3, 4 times a night. I started sleeping with my phone on silent. A week later, I came to my workshop and found the lock tampered with. Nothing taken but tools moved around. A message. I'm watching. That's when I called the police. Officer sat across from me taking notes. And you believe your brother is responsible? I know he is. He threatened me 2 weeks ago. Demanded I give him half my business. When I refused, this started. Do you have proof? I showed him everything. The text messages. The fake review from an account created the day after our confrontation. The phone records. The security footage from across the street showing a figure matching Blaine's build near my shop at 2 a.m. We can file a report, he said. But without direct evidence linking him to the break-in attempt, what about harassment? The calls? The business interference? He looked at me seriously. You might want to consider a restraining order, given the pattern. I filed the next day. Temporary restraining order against Blaine Callahan. Had to go to court, present evidence, explain why I feared for my safety and livelihood. The judge reviewed everything. The threatening visit, the systematic harassment, the attempted break-in. Granted, she said, Mr. Blaine Callahan is to maintain a distance of 500 feet from the petitioner and his place of business. No contact of any kind. When Blaine got served, he lost it. Called me from a burner phone, screaming about betrayal, about how I'd destroyed the family, about how he'd make me pay. I recorded the whole thing, filed a violation report the same day. The burner phone call lasted 4 minutes. He called me every name in the book, threatened to burn down my workshop, said he had friends who could make problems disappear. I let him run his mouth. Every word recorded, every threat documented. He was so busy being angry, he forgot I'd been the quiet one my whole life. The quiet one who listened. The quiet one who remembered everything. Second court appearance. Judge wasn't happy. Mr. Callahan, she said, looking at Blaine, you were explicitly ordered to have no contact with your brother. You violated that order within 24 hours. Your Honor, this is a family matter. It's a legal matter now. You're facing contempt charges. I'm extending the restraining order to 2 years and adding criminal penalties for any further violation. Blaine's lawyer tried to argue. The judge shut him down. Blaine's lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear, probably wondering how he'd explain this to his other clients. Walking out of that courthouse, I felt something I hadn't expected. Not triumph, not satisfaction, just clarity. I'd drawn a line, defended it, and won. The solo show at Forge and Grain was everything I'd worked for. High-end space in a converted warehouse, professional lighting that made each piece glow. My collection occupied the entire main room, each piece spotlit perfectly against exposed brick walls. 6 years of work, 6 years of being told I was wasting my life, all of it validated in one room. I arrived early to set up. My 2 employees were already there, arranging pieces, checking sightlines, making sure everything was flawless. We'd been working toward this for months. You ready? One asked. As I'll ever be. Guests started arriving at 7. Gallery owners from Manhattan, collectors who'd flown in from as far as San Francisco, design bloggers with cameras, interior designers scouting for talent. The room filled fast, the energy electric with possibility. I worked it naturally, talking about process, explaining techniques, connecting with buyers who understood what real craftsmanship meant. A collector from San Francisco bought 3 pieces on the spot, paid asking price without negotiating. I've been looking for someone who still does real joinery, he said. Everyone else is just gluing IKEA parts together and calling it bespoke. We shook hands. That one sale covered my operating costs for 3 months. At 7:30, my grandmother walked in. Alone. She caught my eye and smiled. I walked over. Where's the rest of the family? I asked. Your father and mother decided not to attend, too embarrassed after Blaine's court appearance. Delaney stayed with them. She looked around at the crowd. Blaine is prohibited from being within 500 feet of you anyway, thanks to that restraining order. I heard he tried to show up and had to be turned away. I hadn't known that. Security must have handled it before I noticed. The show looks spectacular, my grandmother said. I'm very proud of you. Thanks for coming. And thanks for backing me up at Christmas. I wouldn't have missed either. She squeezed my hand. Your work speaks for itself. You don't need their approval. You never did. The show ran until 11. By the time we closed, I had orders totaling 67,000, not including the gallery's commission. 3 interior designers wanted to carry my work exclusively in their showrooms. 2 private clients wanted custom home offices designed from the ground up. April bled into May. Blaine's case went public. Criminal charges filed, not just the restraining order violations, but the embezzlement too. Turned out the auditors had found everything. 3 years of falsified records, shell companies, funneled contracts. The whole operation laid bare in court filings that became public record. I watched it unfold from a distance, the family firm hemorrhaging clients faster than they could count, civil lawsuits from investors piling up, the perfect family image destroyed, and everyone knew exactly why. My cousin sent me the news article. Bergen County real estate exec charged with embezzlement. Blaine's mugshot. Dad's company named. $3 million in diverted funds. The golden child had been stealing for years, and they'd tried to use me to cover it up. Summer brought more commissions than I could handle. We hired 4 more people and started turning down projects. The brownstone job in Brooklyn led to referrals. The referrals led to magazine features. The features led to more referrals. Success compounding on success. Built on skill, not manipulation. Late June, Mom called. First time in 6 months. First time since I'd exposed them in front of everyone at Christmas dinner. I'd wondered how long it would take before desperation outweighed pride. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello? Callahan, it's Mom. Her voice was different, smaller, fragile in a way I'd never heard before. The woman who'd spent years dismissing everything I'd built now sounded like she was barely holding it together. Can we talk? About what? Everything. What happened at Christmas? What your father and I did? What we didn't do? The years we wasted treating you like you were less than. She paused, and I could hear her trying not to cry. I'm calling to ask for help. Help with what? The company? The lawsuits? Blaine's legal fees? Everything's falling apart. Her voice cracked. We made mistakes, Callahan. Terrible mistakes, but we're still family. That has to count for something. You plan to humiliate me and steal my business? In front of everyone we know? That's not a mistake. That's a strategy. We were desperate. We were scared. We didn't know what else to do. So after years of calling it a hobby, a phase, a sandbox, now suddenly it's valuable enough to steal? Silence. Callahan, please. I know we don't deserve it, but we need you. Your father is barely functioning. Delaney is overwhelmed. Blaine is facing prison. She paused. We've discussed it as a family. You bring Blaine in as a partner after his legal issues resolve. 50-50. He needs something to come back to. He can handle operations while you do your woodworking. I almost laughed. The audacity was almost impressive. Even after everything, the harassment, the threats, the restraining order, the criminal charges, they still wanted me to save him. Let me understand this. You want me to give half my company to the brother who threatened me, the brother who harassed my clients, the brother who tried to break into my workshop, the brother I had to get a restraining order against, the golden child who destroyed everything. He's still your brother. He needs a fresh start. And frankly, you owe this family something. I owe you nothing. And I have a 2-year restraining order that says he can't come within 500 feet of me or my business. So even if I wanted to, which I don't, it would literally be illegal. We can work around that. Get it modified. No. Callahan? I smiled. Actually smiled. Not angry. Not bitter. Just done. I don't hire thieves. And I definitely don't make them partners. The silence stretched. When she spoke again, her voice was hollow. I don't know what else to say. There's nothing to say. You made your choices. Now you live with them. I'm not your bailout. I'm not Blaine's safety net. I'm the son you discarded, and I built something real without you. Can we at least meet? Talk in person? No, we're done here. I hung up. 2 hours later, Delaney texted, You're tearing this family apart. I hope you're happy. I screenshot it, added it to my collection, then went back to work on a commission for a restaurant in the Hamptons. 22 grand. Cash on delivery. Yeah, I was pretty happy. Dad called, asked if we could meet. His voice sounded different, defeated, broken in a way I'd never heard before. The man who'd always been in control, always had an angle, always knew how to work a room. That man was gone. I agreed. A quiet diner in Montclair. Neutral territory. The kind of place where nobody would recognize us. No family reputation to maintain. No image to protect. Just two people who needed to have a conversation that was years overdue. He walked in looking like he'd aged 10 years. Suit wrinkled. Tie crooked. The man who'd always been immaculately put together, who'd lectured me about presentation and professionalism, now looked like he'd been sleeping in his car. He sat down heavily, like the weight of everything that had happened was physically crushing him. Thank you for meeting me, he said. You wanted to talk. He nodded. Ordered coffee. Took a long breath. Blaine took a plea deal last week. 18 months federal minimum security. The family firm filed for bankruptcy. We're liquidating assets, selling the estate. Everything's gone. He looked at me. I built that company for 30 years. Sacrificed everything for it. Sacrificed my relationship with you, and it's gone. Blaine destroyed all of it, and I let him. I didn't say anything, just waited. You were right, he continued, about all of it. I was wrong to try to control you. Wrong to mock what you built. Wrong to plan that Christmas ambush. Wrong to protect Blaine when he came after you. I was wrong about everything. Why are you telling me this now? Because I need you to know that you were right to leave. You built something real, something sustainable, something that matters. He met my eyes. I'm proud of you, Callahan. I should have said that years ago. I'm saying it now. I watched him grovel. Felt nothing at all. I don't need you to save me, he continued. I don't need you to join anything or fix anything. I just need you to know that I was wrong and you were right. And I'm sorry I couldn't see it sooner. We sat there in silence. Good to know, I said. Doesn't change anything. We're still done. I understand. Keep your apology. I don't need it. I moved on a long time ago. He nodded. I figured you'd say that. He stood to leave, turned back. You know what the worst part is? He asked. What? I had 2 sons, one who had the courage to build something real, and one who didn't. I destroyed my relationship with the first trying to control him. The second destroyed everything trying to please me, and then blamed everyone else when it fell apart. He shook his head. I picked the wrong horse, and I lost everything because of it. He walked out. Not vindication, not satisfaction, not even triumph, though I'd earned that. Peace. I didn't need their approval anymore. I'd already won. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.